Hey, this is Derek with Cafe Realty. I wanted to talk today about my first job as a licensed general contractor, or my first construction job as a licensed general contractor, and some of the lessons I've learned through that process and through going through that job and completing it. The job, first I'll talk about what the job was. It was in Smyrna, Georgia. I was doing what I considered to be aging in place accommodations. Aging in place accommodations, in my view, are we are getting older as a population, and a lot of times we have to alter houses to accommodate older people. And so this family had a older relative that's in the property, and they needed to change it around to accommodate that older. So in this case, we're doing things like we're widening the door of a first floor bathroom to accommodate wheelchair access, turning a den into a bedroom, closing off the space and adding a door to it, and then some other renovations around the house, just minor renovations around the house. So I will say this off top. I absolutely did not bid the job high enough. One of the things that I did was I actually did a good portion of the work myself because I was not sure if I actually had bid right. I did my best to figure out, okay, what would be required of the job, and I was almost dead on material costs. But where I messed up was the actual time that it would take to get certain tasks done. So I'm thinking best case scenario, everything goes perfectly. Or I was even factoring in if things don't go perfectly, but I was not factoring in it good enough. And so there was things that I was like, okay, this will take me 2 to 3 hours. And then it wound up taking me like almost an entire day to get certain phases of the job done. And so those things made me just linger on and on. And so the more time you're spending at a job, that also means more gas to get to the job. So you got to think about logistics, additional materials, just the time that it takes up. So yeah, I underbid the job, but also what I did realize is that I absolutely have to build out my subcontractor network because I actually do have a lot of subcontractors as far as plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, flooring, and painters. But I don't have a lot of the I don't have a subcontractor network for a lot of the things that I would personally do. So for me, I've personally done framing, and typically what I'll do is I will be the main worker because a lot of times how I got started in construction was as a real estate investor. So buying my own properties, fixing up those properties, and then renting those properties out. Um, as That's how I got started in the construction space, just through real estate investing. Found out I was really good at it, and then I started to gain licenses that helped out with the real estate investing. So that's why I got my real estate salesperson's license, and then my real estate broker's license, and now my general contractor's license here in the state of Georgia. So with this, one of the things I realized is outside of underbidding the job, and I didn't just underbid the job by a little, like I probably underbid it by, I'd say, probably 33, somewhere between 33 to 40% of what it should have cost for this job. But I'll say this, me doing the work, it was profitable. But if I would have acted as a GC is supposed to do, which is to basically manage the job, to run the site, keep everything on schedule, manage materials, manage the talent or the subcontractors, maintain client relations. If I wouldn't have been the worker, then I probably would have made like maybe a couple hundred, 200, 300 on a job that took 2 weeks when I expected this job to take 1 week. That's one of the things that I have to learn, that really estimating is going to be one of the number one things that I need to take care of, better estimating the job and really building out my subcontractor network. Because like I said, or like I was alluding to before I jumped off of it, I typically have done the framing for my jobs. I've done window installation. What I'll do is I'll hire some unskilled labor or some day labor to help me out. But typically, I'm the go to lead on most of my projects. And so now I'm moving to a point to where I'm acting as a GC and trying to scale up a construction business. And to scale up, I cannot physically be doing the work on each client's job site. Now, I can step in when necessary, but that should be a rarer occasion, because one of the things that happened during this time was I have two of my rental property units that are vacant currently. I hate having units vacant during the winter time. It just sucks all the way around, everything from trying to keep the units heated, make sure pipes don't bust. And then in general, it's a slower market because people typically just don't want to move during when it's cold out. I try not to have tenants move out during the cold weather months, but in this case, I had a tenant left early, and or two tenants left early. One moved out of state for a job, and then the other just needed a bigger place. I'm fielding calls for prospective tenants. I'm also having, and I want to point this out. I went under contract on a property that I have, a commercial property that I have listed in downtown Austell. So working through that with the buyer, and then working through things with the other listings that I have in my company, and working through these different things. And I'm learning very quickly, Derek, there's no way you're going to be able to be on this job site like this and manage everything that you need to do to run your companies. Like my main, what I say should say, skill set is to be the head of the operation, to be the vision for the companies, and to be the person out and about doing network and making connections. But although I do actually enjoy the construction work, like that's part of the reason I took it so far as to get my GC license, because I'm good at it and I actually like doing the work. But from the perspective of growing a commercial real estate brokerage, growing a a construction business, and working on a development that I'm trying to get through here in downtown Austell, there's just no room for me to be that involved in my business. I need to be able to work on my business, not necessarily in my business. It's one of those factors where, or one of those things where I've learned on this first job that, one, you need to estimate better. You cannot be in the job doing the work, or if I am ever in that case, I need to be on the things that I can do the quickest and fastest. For example, I'm not the best at drywall. I'm good at drywall. And I want to point that out. I'm very good at drywall. I'm not fast at drywall. That's the issue. When it may take somebody else or a crew like a couple of hours or a day to do a job, it may take me by myself like a week to 2 weeks to get that same job done. And so, from a time perspective, it's just not efficient. But when it comes to framing, I'm pretty fast with framing. I can get framing done, especially if I have my unskilled labor, especially if I have skilled labor helping me out, then we can make things happen really quick with framing, really quick with insulation, sometimes with siding installs, things of that nature. But other things like I'd say window installation is something that I definitely give up, but I know how to do that really well. But sometimes I just don't like the way some other people do it. But once again, I have to get out of that mindset of being the person that is the worker and nobody can do it as good as I can, and moving into the role of the actual boss, el jefe. And yeah, that's what I learned on this job. Number one is to bid right because I have to get my guys paid. In this case, I was the guy. So I was able to make some money at this, but not what I should have made. And like I said, if I would have hired guys to be able to do this, then I would have eked out a couple hundred, and somebody might think, oh, that's pretty good, but no, it is not good because as a licensed general contractor, I have to warranty the work. So I have to provide a 1 year warranty on any work above $2,500. So if one of my subcontractors messes up and I have to go back out to fix it, and I just made $200, $300 for a project, not including the fact that I have insurance, not including the fact that I have gas and other fees that are associated with managing software costs, etc., or just in general, we're just going to call it overhead. That won't cover the fact that I have the $300 that gets ate up by overhead. And so if I need to go back out there and do something, then I have to pay somebody to get that done. Or if I have the same people and they go out and they're going to get it taken care of. But if for some reason I can't get a hold of those guys and I actually have to bring somebody else on, now all of a sudden I'm paying out of my pocket in order to make this right with the customer. And so in order to maintain the business and keep it going for the long haul, estimating and making sure I could keep jobs on schedule and on budget is going to be vital. And make sure that overall, even if I could do those two things, that I've estimated right to so where I have a profit that's in line with the risk that I'm taking on as the GC. It was a big learning lesson for me. And part of the thing is it's a mental thing in my head that I have to get over because construction costs are up significantly. And sometimes I've given people these quotes, and mentally I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money, but that's what it costs. It's just, and so even mentally to me, although I'm like going through, okay, this is a cost of this is a cost, these are cost of materials, these are what, my drywall guys are going to be charged today. This is how long it should take them to get it done. And then I also have to consider those situations where it goes over. We could say, for example, I was installing a French door and I thought that French door, oh, it's going to take about an hour, maybe 2 hours max. And this wound up being a whole day. And so if I'm not estimating the labor time, then I can set up where, okay, I'm expecting the installer to take, 1 hour or something like that. And so I'm considering the pay when I'm quoting a client, I'm considering pay for that 1 to 2 hours. And then I may consider 3 hours because I'm like, okay, maybe if something goes wrong. But if it winds up taking a day or maybe a day and a half, I still have to pay them. I have to pay that installer or that subcontractor for the day and a half that it took them, and I could be coming out of pocket. So I have to make sure to keep my company going for the long term that I am really factoring in what potentially could be if there's an issue, and also keeping the contractors in line. The contractors not taking this job should take 2 days, and then the contractor's taking 5 days to get it done, also keeping them in line. So basically, it's like balancing these two different aspects of things. And so there's a lot of risks that you take on as the GC. And so for that risk, obviously, you want to have profit at the end of it and live a good life for taking on that risk. Yeah, that's what I learned. Basically, I need to really get better at delegation. I am trying to really build out my subcontractor list because I have been doing a lot of the framing myself, a lot of the finished carpentry myself, window installation, siding installation, insulation installation, flooring, certain parts of flooring I've been doing myself, and even drywall. So these things are things that now, as I'm starting to take on multiple clients, I already have several jobs lined up. So I'm thankful for that. But this first job actually helped me to better serve my future clients. And I'm expecting that to be the case moving forward, that every experience allows me to become better and better as a general contractor. And this helps me out because on my main business is the real estate brokerage and development. And so when it comes to fix and flip properties or just general renovations or development, it allows me to know my numbers better because as I'm quoting my clients, as I'm also looking at investment properties for both myself and my clients, it allows me to better have an understanding of the numbers of what it will take to do whatever's necessary. For example, I had just checked out a commercial property that the city of Austell is going to be selling. And with that commercial property, I'm already, the investor side of me is already, okay, how can we maximize the value? Can we subdivide this building and turn one unit into 2 to 3 units and generate more dollars per square foot? It's and just okay, we could put a kitchen back here. And when you have that construction mindset and when you understand construction and you're already in the real estate investor space, it's a match made in heaven. And that's why I got both sides of it covered. I got the license as a real estate broker or as a commercial real estate broker, and I have a license as a general contractor, because you put those two together and you have a developer. You have both the skill sets needed for a developer. And really, also add in another mix is my finance degree, because you really need to understand the numbers behind what you're doing. So let me know if you have any questions about the first job. How I got the first job was really just because I have a website and they just called me up from the website. That's the way a lot of my people have been showing up. Just they Google me, or they're Googling contractors in their area or black contractors in their area. And then they find me, and then they call me up. And some previously what I was doing was I was actually the sending out leads to a buddy of mine who's also a licensed general contractor. This is before I actually became a licensed general contractor, because I would still do some jobs on the side. My commercial real estate brokerage being my main business, and then I was just doing some construction on the side because I have all of the tools. Like I have a whole just warehouse full of tools that I've bought over the past 10 years that, for construction. And so it has lost my train of thought there. But to jump back, to get back, because yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. Great lessons learned. Next, I'm working on delegation more, and I am definitely looking for some sort of AI estimator software so I could better provide estimates to clients and to do estimates quicker, because in this business it's sales. It's both with the real estate and the construction, it's sales, and so it's a volume business. So I need to be able to provide estimates faster to get to the yes and to move forward with the clients. And then hopefully over years, as I get more reviews and more referrals over time, then I have people who will just come to me naturally and not be. Of course, we want to get them reviewed. We want to get them estimates fast, but the price will matter less and less as I prove the quality and competency of my construction firm. So that's what I learned from my first job. Bid higher, bid, or actually, I should say, not just bid higher, but bid accurately for what the work is entailing, and make sure that I have enough profit to be able to maintain my company moving forward and to really grow this thing into what I believe Cold Black Construction can be. And really, like I said, to help out the real estate brokerage end of things. That's really what I'm hoping to be able to do, that each side of the coin, the commercial real estate brokerage and the general contracting business, feed into each other. So that's it. Once again, my name's Derek Cafe with Cafe Realty. I'm also the owner of Code Black Construction. I'm a licensed general contractor, and I have Code Black Properties, our real estate investment and development firm, which is the parent company for both Code Black Construction and Cafe Realty. So If you're in the Atlanta area, please feel free to give me a call regarding any services needed, and I will see you on the next video.